Welcome back, mother lovers, to a brand new episode of Last Call at McLaren'z, the best damn How I Met Your Mother podcast on the internet. I am your host, Josh, here with my best bud, John. How you doing, man?
Well, after a couple weeks of some family setbacks and some loss, I am back to record the best fucking How I Met Your Mother podcast with my best friend.
Hells yeah. And, like you said, it's been a rough few weeks, but we're here. We're ready to talk about Season 2, Episode 13, Columns.
Yes.
That's right, John. That architectural wonder known as the column.
You know, I always wondered why they called them columns and not, like, something else.
I mean, words are weird, John.
Well, it's not even it's the word. I mean, there are different types of columns. Like, technically, when you're looking at a piece of loose leaf paper, those two little spots on each side of the main part where you write, they're called columns.
They are?
They're not spherical.
No, yeah, I think it's the height. So, they type, like, it being long. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know. This ain't a word podcast.
This isn't Wordle.
That's our next podcast is going to be all about words. We're just going to crack open a dictionary. And each episode, we'll talk about a different word.
Bowl.
Yep.
Bowl. Mm-hmm.
Bowl. And that'll be the whole episode. I think that'll be...
moist. I can't wait till we cover moist.
It'll be our most loved and most hated episode at the same time.
Fair. It's going to be like a 50-50 audience. It's going to be like John Cena wrestling against, like, anybody. Nobody cares.
Well, somebody cares, because half those people, they'll care. That's the way it works, John.
Your kid would be happy.
She would be very happy.
Kella would be happy.
Speaking of John Cena, on a different sitcom situation here, I was watching Parks and Rec. He's in one episode of Parks and Rec. As soon as he came out, she had the biggest pop that you could imagine. It was hilarious. It was, yes, exactly. You would have had that exact look if you'd seen it in person. Just saying. It was hilarious. But we're not here to talk about this. Ain't a Parks and Rec. This isn't Parks and Recollection. This is Last Call at McLaren'z. And we're here to talk about some.
First off, if we were going to do a Parks and Rec podcast, it would be called Parks and Recollection.
Well, that's the name of, like, the actual official podcast.
Oh,
with Rob Lowe.
I would call it the Trash Heap.
I like that. I'd call it Waffles and Raccoons.
Oh my God. Waffles and Scotch.
Waffles and Scotch. There it is. Waffles and Scotch.
Leslie Knope.
Yep.
Ron.
Waffles and Scotch. Waffles, Scotch, and bacon.
Yeah.
Any of those. We're over here. That'll be our next podcast. Probably not.
I was going to say, first off, man, I'm already burnt out on podcasts right now. Like,
and you only do the one. Just imagine.
First off, I do two.
Well, do we though?
I mean,
it's been a bit.
We were going to do a WrestleMania review, and then my mom passed, and
that's true. She was like, "No, it's not going to happen, guys.
Not
Deal
this
with
year.
It.
You guys can watch it, but you're not reviewing
it. Deal with it, sirs."
Man.
But
all right,
yes.
So Season 2, Episode 13. Let me guess. Directed by Pamela Fryman.
Wrong.
No way. Am I wrong?
You are wrong. So, yes, Columns aired originally January 22nd of 2007, and it was directed by Rob Greenberg. This is his second episode out of 7 total that he directs. So far, he's the only other person to direct an episode of How I Met Your Mother. He previously did The Scorpion and the Toad earlier this season.
Oh, yeah, that was a good episode.
And he will also be doing the next episode that we watch, Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he does 2 in a row here this season. And it's written by Matt Kuhn. This is his first episode, as the main writer, but he goes on to write some great ones like Slapsgiving and 3 Days of Snow. Yeah.
First off, Slapsgiving is one of my favorite episodes.
Hells yeah, man.
And then 3 Days of Snow. I mean, that's also a good one.
Yeah. So I'm excited to get to those when, especially Slapsgiving, man. It's such a good episode. I love it. I can't wait to talk about it. But the summary for this one: Ted struggles to fire an employee. Meanwhile, Barney and Robin find an old nude portrait of Marshall that Lily has painted, which prompts Barney to hire Lily to paint him. Yeah. So we're going to get this episode rolling with future Ted. He starts off talking about his dream as a kid to build a skyscraper.
Yep.
And how that dream is finally coming true. I love this. I love that we get the parallels. We get the kid pushing over his giant Lego skyscraper, followed by Hammond Brothers doing the exact same thing with his columns.
Yep.
I thought that was some nice juxtaposition there. So Ted, he gets into the office, introduces his latest building idea of columns, and Hammond Brothers said stupid and destroys this model. And I'll be honest with you, man, I had forgotten that he did that. And when I saw this, I was like, you should fire this motherfucker right now. Like on the spot.
First off, the thing that comes to mind when I saw this was, when Ted designs the exit way.
Oh yeah.
The firing room.
Yeah, for GMB. Yeah.
This is what comes to mind then. Is I'm like, I would take him in a room and fucking hit him with a chair. I would just be like, can I see you in this room over here? Boom.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, like Ted, he's too soft here. This is his first time being a boss. And he's way too soft, and he's just letting Hammond just walk all over him and treat him like shit in front of all these other employees.
Well, I mean, it doesn't help. Ted still feels bad that he took the project off of Hammond.
Yeah, but you know what? This is fucking penis guy.
I mean, that's it. It's not like they all would have been out of a job if Ted hadn't stepped up with his project because Hammond came up with a giant penis. Exactly.
And then future Ted says something that, like, I was like, what? Why are we doing this here? He says, I wrote down. He says, "I know what you're thinking. Who's this jerk?" And I'm like, we already know who this jerk is. Now, I understand that it's been like, I think like 3 months had passed between those episodes. There's like a 7-episode difference. But it's like, we literally had a whole episode with this guy, with penis guy, as I like to call him, fucking everything up. We saw this whole storyline play out. So, like, I guess maybe they were thinking, well, people might not remember since it's been 3 months, 7 episodes. But it's like, I mean, you got to give your audience a little bit more credit than that.
At least a little bit.
Yeah, because it's like I said, 7 episodes between this and Aldrin Justice. That's not that much. If you're forgetting that entire episode and all that stuff that happened, then like, are you really even watching the show?
Right.
Just saying, guys.
I was gonna say, it's not like he was a bit part in the Aldrin Justice episode. He was like huge part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big part. Now maybe you don't remember his name, and that's fine. But like, I feel like you would still at least remember the guy. But
yeah.
Future Ted continues on saying, at times he was happier before he was the boss. He couldn't hang with the guys anymore. He has to work more. He's kind of has to be like the buzzkill of the office, which I get. We have both been bosses.
Oh yeah.
And we've both been not bosses, and it's a big difference, a big change going from.
You know what the sad part is that you're 100% correct. Is that we've both been on both sides of that spectrum, where we've been the worker and we've been the boss. Yeah. And then there was a point where I was your boss, and that one sucked.
Sometimes.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's still a hole in the wall of Dollar General's break room. But
probably.
The thing that sucks is like he's talking about like he can't hang out with the guys and joke around, and like he can't. Well, first off, if you can't hang out with the guys and joke around, then you're not being a good boss, because a good boss knows that line between the two.
Yeah.
So either you're doing something that are making your people think they can't trust you, or you need to reaffirm with them that like you're still that guy.
Yeah.
So
I think they're so used to a boss like Druthers, and Ted doesn't know what he's doing as a boss. So he doesn't know how to kind of make that transition. You're not wrong. How to keep that line, as you say. Yeah, he has no idea of what to do there. And Hammond is just continuing all these comments with Ted just taking it. It goes on for a bit. And again, I was like, just fire his ass right here, man.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
this is unacceptable. It'd be one thing if he was just like, talking about, his opinions, how he doesn't think that, it's a good idea. But now, man, he's like trash talking Ted in front of an entire table of employees.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
and I mean, like, not even
okay.
in a nice way. He's literally like shitting on Ted.
Yeah. And like, this is, I don't care if he was your boss before. This is not acceptable. Like, not even a little bit. So then we get over to the bar. The gang is all in agreement that he can't let Druthers talk to him that way. And they have this quick little discussion about who's the boss, which I thought was funny. We have, between Tony, Angela, and Barney picks Mona. Do you have a pick here, John?
Yeah, I 100% agree, Mona.
Yeah?
Fucking right. Have you ever watched Who's the Boss?
I mean, it's been a long time, but
First off, besides the fact that Tony walks in on Angela in the shower, we're going to ignore that whole fact for a second. Mona was the one who ran that fucking house. It wasn't Tony. It wasn't Angela. And definitely wasn't that little kid that nobody remembers.
That's fair. Yeah, I think I could get behind that. I love that it's Barney's the one who kind of brings it up, and everybody's like,
yeah, honestly,
Mona.
It kind of shocked me because I would have thought that Ted would have said that.
Yeah.
I honestly would have thought it would have been Barney would have said Angela. She's fucking hot. I mean,
that's true. Yeah, fair.
Anybody who grew up in the 90s knew, like, it was like, that was one of those shows where, like, oh, hot mom on TV, like, woohoo.
Yeah, and you can guarantee Barney was watching that show. Ted then says that, he went to talk to the managing partner. And this guy, old guy, he tells him to fire him, along with everyone else, including Mosby.
Oh, yeah, I love
Fire that Mosby.
Fire that Mosby.
Because apparently he thinks that Ted is somebody named Crosby, which I thought was pretty funny. And I thought it was funny, Ted, because Ted like stands up for himself, quote unquote. Be like, oh, that Mosby, he's doing some good work. First off, why would you hear he's doing good work? You're the boss of those people,
right?
If Mosby works down there, then you should know, not just hear. And I would have been like, oh, Mosby's my best guy. I would have really sold it up. You know what I mean?
And that's it. And I was thinking that same thing. I was like, first off, if you're the boss, you should know who your people are. Not, like you said, not like third party. Like, oh, I hear he's doing okay.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Mosby's my best guy. He's like my number 2. We really sold that. Maybe got him a raise. But like, I think he deserves a raise. really, hit it home is what I would have done. Then we get back to the apartment. Robin is telling Ted about the time that she had to fire her makeup artist. And it's a funny scene, okay? But I have a hard time believing that they would leave the firing of a makeup artist up to the anchor of the newscast.
And right before she gets to do the makeup, like not after.
That's just that was just a bad choice of timing on her part. But it's like, I'm pretty sure that they would have an HR department, somebody who's like Robin's boss, who would take care of that kind of thing. I don't think they'd be leaving that up to her to do.
Guess you never know.
I guess not. And yeah, timing, as Robin says in How I Met Your Father, timing is everything, John. And timing can be a bitch.
Timing can be a bitch.
And that bitch can make you look like a clown on air. As we saw
you ain't wrong.
As we saw here. And while they're all there, Barney is trying to find a place to plug in his phone charger. And as he's doing so, he finds a painting tucked behind the piano of a naked Marshall.
Naked Marshall.
That's right.
With a rose.
Yeah, with a rose. And they love this thing, man, and they're going off about it. They're planning to use it to mess with him. I thought it was it's a good painting. I want to know who made this painting. I really do.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I would buy one and put it in my house,
dude. Absolutely. I think that would be a great. I would have a side by side of the Marshall one and the Barney one that we get later on.
Yes,
I think that would be awesome. I bet you can find like recreations of that.
Oh, I don't doubt that
of it somewhere on the
That's what
internet.
I want for my birthday.
Fair. I'll look into that. I will look into that. So then back at the office, Ted tries to fire Hammond unsuccessfully as he is interrupted by a birthday party for Hammond. You know, he didn't know it was coming. And here's the thing. A whole birthday party was planned. Yet Ted had no, like, the boss, they didn't include him at all. Had no idea that they were going to interrupt the work day.
Nope.
And didn't tell the boss, oh, hey, boss, we're going to throw a party for Hammond. You know, it's going to interrupt the work day. Like, what the fuck is happening in this office? He has lost all control of this office.
And this is where it goes back to. He needs to find the medium of being people's friends and boss.
Yeah.
Because they obviously froze him out of an entire decision to have a birthday party for somebody.
Mm-hmm. and it comes very close to making him look like a complete fool.
Oh, yeah.
Right there, which it happens later, but not at this very moment. Then we go back to the apartment. Robin, Barney, and Ted are all messing with Marshall about the painting, doing the whole thing with the new dart.
I was going to say, I love the new dart thing because, like, Barney's like, look at this. I got this new dart. I love this new dart.
Yeah. Tom, don't you love nude art?
This is one of the few times where I'm surprised the joke doesn't get drug out.
Yeah.
They go over this one really quickly.
They do.
Nude art.
It gets close though, because he's like nude art, and he's like, "You found the painting, didn't you?" Just the look on Marshall's face was great. And this is where we learn the story of the painting. Back in college, Lily said she wanted to do a nude painting. Marshall doesn't want her to see other guys, and so she convinces him to pose for her. Funny thing, in a later episode, we learn that there's more to this story.
Yes.
The reason that she is doing a nude art is because Marshall ate her bowl of fruit.
Yep.
And we also learned that this is where Ted's college girlfriend, Karen, ogles Marshall's naked body. Yep. The linger. It's I love that it all ties back. I love the show so much because of all the tie-ins that they do. But yes, the linger. We get to see that a little bit later on. Fucking Karen, man. She is like the textbook definition of a Karen. I'm just saying.
She absolutely is. You are not even mistaken.
Oh yeah, man. Like I feel like she'd be walking down the street. A black guy would wave at her, and she'd be like, "I'm calling the cops because you threatened me." I believe wholeheartedly that she's that kind of person.
All I'm saying is she better be careful walking outside during a tornado because somebody might drop a house on her.
100%. She not a good person. Mozzarella. That's my favorite.
I think you're just being so passé right now.
Yeah, it's so passé. So Marshall goes to find the painting, and it's gone, John. It's not behind the piano anymore. Where could it be?
You might want to check the bar.
And he rushes down to the bar. He
runs for that bar.
Yeah, and they all follow him, and sure enough, there it is. Marshall has found the painting. It seems that Barney has given it to Carl, and he has put it up behind the bar.
I love that Carl goes along with it.
Yeah, and he will not give it back. I gotta say, this is probably one of my favorite Carl scenes. With him screwing with Marshall.
That's fair. It is a pretty good scene.
Yeah, I love I don't know what it is. It's just the delivery of him just shooting Marshall down every time. Doubt it. Doubt it.
I love how Marshall pretty much jumps the fucking bar to get it.
Yeah, he does.
And then runs.
Yeah, because Barney's talking. I think he goes to the bathroom, or at least pretends to. And Barney's talking to the group about how he's got this 5-year rollout plan all across the city for the painting.
Yeah,
and
they're talking about bus ads and a fucking billboard,
and Marshall just comes bolting out of the bathroom, hops the freaking bar, grabs the painting, and just takes off. It was good stuff, man. Though I would have loved to have seen this painting just pop up on random bus ads throughout the show. Just they don't even mention it. It's just we see it go by, and there's painting of Marshall. I think that would have been kind of
that would have been hilarious.
Yeah, I would love that. So Ted leaves to go back to the office. Robin heads out with him. We don't know really where she's going. It doesn't really matter. They just needed her to be out of the bar for this scene. And because it leaves Lily and Barney together at the booth, something you don't see very often.
Nope.
And he says that her painting was great, that they weren't making fun of the painting. They were making fun of Marshall, and that her painting was actually really great. And when she says that she actually misses painting nudes, he tells her to paint him.
Me.
Paint me. Paint me like one of your
French girls.
Yep. Was just going there.
I miss these moments when we're in sync like this.
Yes, buddy. And then we go back to the office. Ted walks in and discovers Hammond Druthers is there. He's been sleeping there. He was going to fire him, but because he learned that he's sleeping there and all this other stuff, he's having marital problems. He does not. He chickens out essentially. They talk for a bit, bond a little, and Ted even lets Druthers sleep over at his place.
He Teds up this situation.
He totally Teds up this situation. Now it's like, I understand feeling bad for the guy. I get it. But no, fuck that guy. He was a terrible person as a boss, a terrible person as an employee.
There's a difference between feeling bad and having to rip that Band-Aid off anyway.
Yeah. So like, if he had just done it here, I mean, he might have felt a little shitty, but at least he would have done it in the privacy of just between the two of them.
No. Hypothetically speaking, what if Hammond Druthers losing his job and getting fired caused him to go crazy and leave, move to a different town and change his name and get a job at a car wash? Hypothetically speaking, that's not far-fetched.
Well, really, he'd have to get a job as a teacher first.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. But still.
But I mean, that's even more feasible.
Oh, I mean, I've heard the Malcolm in the Middle connection, but I've never heard the How I Met Your Mother connection, and I like it.
Think about this though. He could literally go like schizophrenic. That would be how like the Walter White Heisenberg thing happens.
Yeah.
With everything that happens here, he starts to have that break, that tweak, that something's just not right mentality. And he's like, fuck it, I'll go teach kids, I'll live my life. He falls in love, starts the second job, he's got a kid, he's got a second kid on the way. Now things are getting stressful. He turns to Pinkman, and then things go haywire. He kills Gus, he kills the girl, he fucking makes blue coke.
Well, I hope you guys have all seen Breaking Bad because John just spoiled a whole bunch of it for you. If you haven't, and that's all there is, folks. Thank you and good night. No,
I'm here till Thursday. Tip your waiters and try the veal.
Thank you for listening to the final episode of Last Call at MacLaren'S. Oh man. But then we go back to Lily. She's having some trouble deciding if she should take Barney up on his offer. As you know, this could help them pay for the honeymoon that they really want to go on. Because she really doesn't want to spend her honeymoon in a cave. So she entices Marshall with Scotland and Loch Ness. And Barney's like, well, we could never afford that. But then we learned that Barney has offered her
Marshall, by the way. Marshall says they can never afford that.
Marshall says that we could never afford that. And we find out that Barney offers her $5,000 to paint him. This guy's just throwing money everywhere. Like, it's not the first time we've seen him do that.
No, but I love that she knows that they can also entice him to go higher, so they tease him.
Yeah, I mean that comes later, but yeah. But as soon as Marshall hears that Barney has offered $5,000, he's like, let's do it.
We're going to Scotland.
We're going to Scotland. Then back at the office, Ted brings up this is the next morning. Him and Ted and Druthers kind of come into the office together because he slept over at Ted's place.
Drunk and clearly wearing some of Ted's clothes.
Yeah, and later on, Robin's shoes, which I thought was funny. Ted brings up the columns again. And even though he and Druthers just had like this bonding night, He still bashes Ted's idea
Dude, he
and
shits
makes
on him
fun
hard
of it.
again.
Yeah, man. Druthers, I wrote this in my notes. I put Druthers is a manipulative cuck. That's exactly what he is. And it's like, right here, I would just be like, you know what? Fuck you, man. You're done. Get out. You're fired.
Right?
Fired.
Like, hit the bricks, man. Start walking.
Dunzo, as the case may be. Then we go back to the apartment. Lily's getting ready to paint Barney. And he chooses to hold up a sword, which, to quote this show, he chose poorly. Poorly. Because his arm eventually starts like trembling.
Oh,
he
God,
can't hold this. I mean, he's strong enough, and all this stuff, but like, you hold anything out like that for a extended period of time, that's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
Your arms really just aren't meant for that. And then during this scene, we see Marshall at the bar. He's thinking about what she's doing, and he's like, "This isn't right." And he rushes back off to the apartment. And just as Barney's about to take his boxers off, Marshall bursts in through the door. And he's like, "The deal is off." And we're like, "What the fuck? Like, come on, man. Like, it's not that big of a deal." But then we find out what's really going on. He starts yelling, but also at the same time whispering to Lily that he thinks that they can get more money out of Barney.
Oh, yeah.
For this haunted castle that he found. And as soon as Marshall opens the door, Barney offers them another $5,000, and they accept right away.
And then Barney plays it like he's like, "Yo, you guys are idiots. He'll do anything for money."
He's like, "You're like my little puppets." And really, he's their puppet.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, he's paying $10,000. I don't think Lily has ever or will ever make that kind of money on a single painting in her life. Just saying.
Can't say that, though. We don't know how much money she makes off those paintings when the guy buys them for the dog.
I mean, I guess that's true. I doubt that doctors' offices are paying $10,000 for a painting.
True.
You know what I mean? It's not like they're like it's not like the captain who's some like rich dude who loves art.
That is true. I will give you that one.
They're doctors' offices. I don't think she's making $10,000 off of that, because that's a fucking chunk of change, man.
That's a pretty chunk of change.
It's a pretty fucking chunk of change. Then back at the office, Ted is getting fed up with Hammond Druthers. He's determined to fire him. But thing after thing keep on happening. A guy comes in and serves Hammond divorce papers.
Yep.
In these divorce papers, he learns that his dog is dead.
Yep.
Then another birthday party for him comes out from the people who weren't there the previous day.
With the same cake, though, which I thought was really weird.
Yeah, because it was already half eaten, which I thought was hilarious, actually. And then he has a heart attack. And Ted, no. He's like, "I know you're faking this."
Oh, yeah.
And he goes on to fire him anyways as he's laying on the ground. But unfortunately for Ted, he was not faking. And now Ted looks like a complete asshole.
Dude, like a dick.
Like, he could have just finished this in the office when they were alone together. Nobody would have seen any of it. He would have came back in, Hammond's gone. We had to let him go. Budget cuts, so to speak. And but no, now he looks like a complete dick and has to do something to curry the favor of his employees once more. And that's where he comes up with what he calls his greatest idea ever, Margarita Fridays. Now, I wish I worked at a place that had Margarita Fridays, man. I kind of just want one of those margarita machines.
You would.
It's a fucking slushy machine that's a margarita.
That would be pretty great.
That would be pretty great.
I can't even deny that. I would not a big margarita guy, but I could offer you a mojito.
Then to end the episode, Lily finishes up the painting. She and Marshall take off with the money as Barney comes running out with the painting, and we learn that Lily did not paint the Barnacle Jr.
Dude, I love that he's like, "She Kendalled me."
Yeah, she Kendalled me. Oh man, and I want that painting.
I mean, really it's a great photo. Like, it's a great painting.
I agree.
Like, overall.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Like I said, I want to know who made these paintings. And that's how the episode ends, John. What are your final thoughts here on this episode overall?
I mean, I know this is like my basic go-to, but I mean, like, it's okay. Like,
yeah,
this isn't a great episode. It's not the worst episode. It really focuses on that whole Hammond Brothers being an asshole thing. Yeah. So that when he has the heart attack at the end of the episode, you don't feel sorry for him at all.
Yeah.
Like, but you do feel sorry for him a little bit because, I mean, shit's going bad, but it is what it is. This is a filler episode to make the season stretch out and get Ted to where he needs to be and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you there. It's definitely not the best in any way. I dislike Hammond Brothers so much, and the ineffectualness of Ted throughout this episode just bothers me. It's like, just fucking fire this guy. Like, get it over with, man.
Absolutely.
Like, stop letting him shit on you like this. The stuff with the other people in the group is great. I love the stuff with the painting and everything. I thought that was a hilarious part.
It's a very Robin light episode, though.
It really is, man. Like, she's there a couple of times, but yeah, nothing for her. Really,
this was before her character became like big enough that they could like, because like it's noticeable in season 1. Robin's missing because you're like, well, what the fuck was she doing? Like, was she off with the news? Was she off doing something personal? Like, what?
Yeah. Like, even when Ted leaves the bar, she's like, "Yeah, I'll come with you." She doesn't say where she's going, what she's doing, exactly. And we don't really see her. Again after that, really. And so, yeah, I get that. I totally get that. So, but I like the episode, but I'm glad that the guy who wrote this goes on to do some great ones after like that. Slapsgiving is fucking amazing.
Yes.
So, he was cutting his teeth on this one and goes on to do some really, really good stuff later on. So
he really does.
All right. So now that we have talked about the episode, it is that time, folks. It is time for Barney's blog. That's right.
Up, bitches.
Yeah. And this week's edition of Barney's blog, it is titled The Barnabas Stinson Presidential Library.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. This one was written on Tuesday, January 23rd of 2007. And it says, as hopefuls begin campaigning for the 2008 presidential election, it occurs to me that I will most likely be called upon to serve as president at some point in my life. Short of advancing my national dress code platform, the single most important contribution I will offer the American people is the Barnabas Stinson Presidential Library.
Remind me, who ran in 08 again? That was Obama?
That was Obama's first term.
Okay.
That was when he ran for the first time.
That's what I
thought. So I will offer the American people the Barnabas Stinson Presidential Library, an interactive journey through the roller coaster of awesomeness that is Barney Stinson. With the consultation of my best friend, a leading architect, I've compiled a few preliminary schematics for the library, which I've included here for you. And for those watching on YouTube, I will be including here momentarily. If you are listening on the podcast where you can't actually see anything, I will include the links to these images so you can see what the hell we're talking about. So here's the first one. Okay. It's it looks like a couple boobs, really.
It really does.
And it's got a roller coaster in the background, which okay, sure, library.
They missed a big opportunity with this one.
What would be your opportunity?
It should have been a boat.
Should have been a boat?
Motorboat, okay. Bro.
No, that's fair. No, I get that.
Like it could have been like a little boat set up instead of a
I don't think Barney is that opaque when it comes. I think he's way too literal. It's going to be boobs. Boobs.
No. I mean, instead of the roller coaster, it should have been like a little boat, and it should have went right in the middle of those boobs.
I got you. Yeah, sure. I mean, I think the entrance should have been a boat. You know what I mean? I think that would have actually been pretty funny, or like just right on top. There's just a random boat there.
Hell yeah,
that could have been funny. And then we've got the floor plan here, and along with this floor plan, he has included a key to everything going on in here. So we're going to go over the stuff here. So if you look, there are letters associated with various things, and we're going to kind of go over what all of those
conquests.
are. So letter A, where you can see it's kind of against that left wall in the middle there, is the Barney. It says, when you have a face and body that seems chiseled from marble, it is your duty to immortalize that image with actual marble.
So it's a bust.
I think it's a full statue.
It looks like the way it looks like a bust.
Yeah, it says here it says, unlike some other statues, looking your way, David, all my parts are actually Stinson size.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, they are. Also, the marble will function like living tissue over a mechanized endoskeleton, allowing the Barney to high-five all visitors.
That's great.
So he's naked and he's in, I'm assuming, a high-five position, which I would have loved to have seen, actually seen the, like a picture of that. Like, obviously, you blur out the penis, but.
So let me guess, B is seating.
B are busts. A collection of bronzed busts of influential women I've touched over the years.
Okay.
Yeah. C is the gift shop, an upscale store offering visitors the opportunity to take home non-communicable mementos to celebrate their time spent inside the Barnabas Stinson Presidential Library. Popular items will include framed copies of My Lemon Law, fine clothing, and authorized replica neckties from the Stinson Administration collection. And for the kids, the Barney Stinson doll, an interactive action figure learning tool designed to teach children the art of suiting up.
Dude, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so D, it says BSPL Gallery. Let me guess. Barney Stinson Players Lounge.
No, the PL is Presidential Library.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. So Barney Stinson Presidential Library Gallery.
Yes, and in this gallery, technically, yes, it's specifically Lily's painting.
Oh, okay.
He says, an early portrait of me that captures the full Barney minus the Barnabas Maximus, which the painter was clearly so in awe of that she couldn't capture it believably. Notice the face, the youthful optimism, the proud jaw, the come-hither stare that seems to scream, I'm Barney Stinson, President of the United States and this bedroom.
Fair.
E is Stormtrooper. No presidential library is complete without a Stormtrooper. I bet you he just took the one from his apartment.
I was going to say.
That would probably be his
plan. I'm assuming that's probably where that one came from.
F is the tie wing, a sampling of some of the ties I've worn throughout my life. Just as the tie makes the suit, so too does this wing make my library. Popular relics include my first tie, the Paisley number I wore on the night I lost my virginity, and the MVP championship tie my laser tag team got me in celebration of my advanced tactical play. And I would have to imagine that maybe later on down the line he'd throw like the ducky tie in there.
So there's a small error in that though.
Yes, there is.
He wasn't wearing a tie the night he lost his virginity.
Yes, sir. You are correct. But he's not going to tell you that.
That is true.
You know what I mean? Even if at this point they had known that was going to be the case, there's no way that he's going to know that he's going to admit.
We've already gotten past him telling the virginity story.
Yeah, but we haven't seen it.
True.
You know what I mean?
That is true.
We didn't actually see anything, so we didn't know. We don't really at this point know what he was wearing.
That's fair.
But yeah, he would never admit that to the world.
That's fair. You're right.
And then finally, G, the library, an astoundingly thorough collection of documents, papers, and other written materials that detail the story of my life from conception to non-conceptions. Highlights include, but are not limited to, leather-bound editions of my zines and blogs, a wide-ranging assortment of letters I've written to extricate myself from various females' bedrooms, and, of course, an early draft of my as yet unpublished children's book, Barney Stinson's Alphabet Soup. I also wholeheartedly believe that eventually we would get like the playbook and whatnot in there as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yes, that, my friends, was Barney's blog for this week. So, you got any final thoughts before we wrap this up, my friend?
I can't believe you didn't even mention the hot tub for 20.
Oh, it's not on the list.
I know it's not on the list, but it's in there.
It is in there. You are right. Hot tub for 20 fountain.
First, for those of you who can't see this picture and want to kind of have the visual, the hall of Barney, as I'm going to call this, is in kind of the shape of a B.
Yes.
So you're going to enter it, and most of the stuff that Josh describes is either right in front of you or to the right. And to the left, once you go past the library, they're in the other front part of the B as apparently a hot tub for 20 / fountain.
Yeah. All in its own separate room.
Own separate room.
Yeah.
Because that is just how Barney is.
That's true. He is.
This is a great blog for him, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would love to see just a random reunion episode and where he's running for president.
Dude, that would be hilarious.
I think that would be pretty hilarious.
That would be funny.
Yeah. But do you have any final thoughts, my friend, on this episode? Episode 13 from season 2, Columns.
No, sir.
All right. Well, then let everybody know where they can find you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, jump over on Twitter. Find me at Simply Saying J1. I'm not really doing the podcast anymore, but it's there. But please jump on over there. There's also a link to my blog on there. You can find me over here at Simply Saying J1, the Not Your Mama's podcast blog. That's me. I'm on social media everywhere. You can find me on Facebook. You can email me. At some point, I'm going to pull Barney Stinson to just hold up my phone number here and be like, text me.
You did that once, and I cut it out.
I know you did.
I was like, yeah, well, maybe we shouldn't do that.
I'll put Josh's number up there next. Oh, and actually, I'm gonna plug this for the first time since I kind of have a rough edit of my first part. Coming soon, the John Maid autobiography. So get ready for that, ladies and gentlemen, because it's gonna be one fuck of a ride.
It's definitely gonna be a ride. I'll say that. And you can find me on Twitter at JP Raynor. That's JPRAYNOR, as well as right down here at Movie Blog Merc. That is the Twitter page for my site, Merc with a Movie Blog. If you're watching this on YouTube, you are on the Merc with a Movie Blog YouTube channel. So be sure to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and click that little bell right up at the top so you'll always know when we drop brand new videos. And if you are listening on podcast form, if you're over on Anchor, be sure to leave us a voice message. We always love to hear what you guys have to say, and we will play that on air for you during an episode and address what you have to say. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify and you want to leave us a 5-star review, be sure to write something, because then we will read that out on air. And unless you're saying some nasty shit, then maybe I'll just shame you. I'll shame you until you can't. Shame.
Shun the non-believer.
That's right. But and be sure to follow us at Last Call HIMYM on Twitter. That's at Last Call HIMYM. I'm on there quite often. So, if you have some questions, comments, concerns, funny gifts you want to share, experiences that relate to characters or whatever, let us know. Because
maybe you got your own personal story about a bar incident or something you want to share.
Yeah. Have you bought a bar? Let us know. I want to know all that stuff, guys.
You should buy a bar.
Yes, exactly. So, let us know everything that you got going on. And I think that's all I got for him. What do you got for him, my friend?
I'm going to end this one a little bit differently today.
Ooh. What do you got?
Ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to go home, but you can't listen here.
Boom. Catch you next time.